Hey folks, this is Kalani. Horrific Visions have quite a lot of progression options, especially when you start to unlock masks, but to get your first mask, you'll need to clear every objective in a single run and kill the main boss. That first clear can be the hardest part for a lot of folks, so I'm going to show you a foolproof route to get all of the objectives done that can be completed even if you are under item level 600 to get your Mask of Long Night so you can start working on unlocking everything else in this system. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. I know if I did this route on my Rep Paladin, a lot of folks would say Rep Paladins make everything super easy, and my Paladin is also decently geared, and gear does make a huge difference in your Horrific Vision runs. As far as I know, nothing really scales to item level, so the higher your item level, the easier this is all going to be. So if you are struggling really bad, it wouldn't be a bad idea to try and pick up some gear upgrades from somewhere else before you try again. Now with that in mind, I've got my more or less freshly dinged level 80 evoker here. I spent just shy of 2,000 gold on the auction house to get it up to item level 595 with green gear, so that's what I'll be doing this run with. I'll also be playing Devastation because I don't really think augmentation would be up to soloing a Horrific Vision right now, especially at item level 595, and as a quick little disclaimer, I haven't played Devastation properly in a little while, so if you main Devastation evoker, you probably don't want to pay too much attention to my rotation. We're going to start off by mounting up and pulling these first two packs together. You don't have to do this, but the caster mob is the only one you really need to watch out for here. Just make sure you interrupt its psychic scream if it does try and cast it, and make sure you dodge the swirlies when the oozes die. Next, we're going to pull the two mobs in front of the Cathedral to save us having to do that later. Be sure to dodge their swirls as well, and note that the swirl is actually a line attack, not a single swirl, so hopefully you do a bit better than I did dodging that specific attack. You can also dispel or purge their shield buff if you have that kind of spell, which can make killing them a bit faster. After that, we're going to kill this little pack of oozes. Oozes are kind of annoying to drag into other groups because they tend to be slow, and we're a little undergeared, so I do want to take things easy. Kill the pack of two leftover mobs after that. Be careful of the caster once again and interrupt it if it does try to fear you, and then we can head on over to the Dwarven District. Remember to kill the gnomes just outside of the Dwarven District first, otherwise you're gonna have to come back for them. As we head inside, place the first bomb right in front of us, and then I like to go left. Keep clearing through the mobs. You don't have to kill the neutral NPCs, but if you're doing any AoE, they are going to get pulled anyway. You can try and pull some of these packs together if you're feeling a bit spicy, but I'm gonna play it super safe in this run and mostly just do 1 or 2 packs at a time. Most of the monsters in this area aren't too bad, they've just got ground effects and swirls that you will want to dodge. After those monsters are dealt with, we're going to get to our first mini-boss. Now this dude doesn't do too much, he's just going to use entropic blades, which increases the damage he does with his attacks. If you're getting a bit low or he's hitting really hard, make sure you pop a cooldown. Apart from that, he's just going to use a leap attack, which you'll need to dodge. That's a very big swirl, so get out of that when you can. After you've cleared everything in this area, run around and plant all of the bombs. Remember to use any speed boosts that you have access to, and just try to get this done as quickly as you can. Then we're going to clear near the blacksmith area, place down those bombs, head around to the left to clear those other bomb areas, and place each bomb as you kill the mobs. You'll probably want to hold onto some cooldowns at this point as well, as we're about to deal with the first boss of a zone. Therum Deepforge isn't too bad to deal with. He only has 2 main abilities, the bombs that drop on the floor and his cone breath attack. The bombs can be clicked on to kick them away if you do need the space, but you can usually just walk away from them. Dodge to the side for the breath attack and use whatever cooldowns you have to kill him quickly. Now next up, we're going to head on over to the Old Town. I would only recommend taking these portals at the end of zones from the harder zones, so Old Town and the Mage Quarter, to reduce the amount of backtracking that we're going to do. We can head straight to Old Town from here, but be careful of the Mind Twist tendrils. They can deal a lot of damage if you don't interrupt them. So nuke that down and then we can head into Old Town. Now as we head into Old Town, you want to be careful of the 2 stealth enemies right in this walkway. I would use an AoE to get the drop on them if you can, otherwise just be prepared for some stealth hits and a slowing poison debuff. With those two dealt with, you always want to start by going right here and killing the Arms Master. You need a key from this mob, so if you don't kill it first, you'll have to walk all the way back around here. Watch out for the circle AoE ability called Blade Flourish. It's a channeled attack that destroys your sanity and deals big damage if you get hit. They're also going to use a big frontal attack called Roaring Blast. You want to get behind them to dodge it or line of sight it around the corner. Now with that mini boss dead, we can start working our way around to the actual boss. Now I usually prefer to cut in here to the right and go through the middle of this zone. I find it's a bit easier to deal with and there are fewer packs overall and fewer stealth monsters. We come out to another pack of monsters on the other side, be careful of the stealth ones once again and dodge the big swirlies when you see them. Now before we can get to the real boss, we've got another elite to deal with. This one isn't too bad, but I would still save a couple cooldowns to blow them up quickly. They're going to apply a disease debuff, so dispel that if you can, and then his other abilities put down an AoE on the floor that you just need to avoid and not stand in. Hopefully you kill them quickly enough to avoid that one though. With that elite out of the way, we can finish off this last pack and head into the boss. Ideally, I would have saved this orb to use in Shaw's room, but I popped it a bit early just for a bit of extra safety. Whenever you use an orb, let it tick for a few times and then try and start a fight with something. Even though you get 50% less sanity from the orb while in combat, if you wait for a few ticks before you start combat, you should always end your fight with max sanity, and you can even ignore some sanity draining abilities thanks to the orb regen. After those mobs are dealt with, use one of the obelisks to open the gate to shore. This is probably my least favourite fight in here just because of the teleporting and disappearing ability. The real key here though is to face away from the eyes. If you're facing an eye, you constantly lose sanity, so try to drag Shaw away from the eyes and avoid facing them whenever you can. When he teleports away, he will spawn 3 swirls in a row and he will always reappear after that third swirl, so always count for the third swirl and then get ready to re-engage. After you've dealt with Shaw, I would recommend taking the portal back to the Cathedral area. You can move from here and go straight into the Trade District, but that extra time in a lost area can actually lose you quite a bit of sanity because the lost areas have the highest rate of sanity drain, so I prefer to take the portal back. Now from the Cathedral District, we're going to head straight to the Trade District, so clear out the mobs as you head that way, being careful of the ranged mobs attacks and the swirls on the floor. Another important note is that you don't have to kill all of these tumors on the floor either. They do deal a bunch of damage if you walk over them, so try not to do that all that much, but you don't have to stop and kill each one, until we get to the Mage Quarter anyway. When you get into the Trade District, we're going to head right and clear out these 2 mobs real quick. The tentacles can be annoying when they take forever to pop back up, but if you just have a tentacle left over, you can actually pull them into the next pack without too many worries. Then we'll cut through here to the middle of the area with these tormentors. You want to be careful of their mental assault channeled ability. It's a huge AoE and will deal a bunch of damage, so you want to stun it, interrupt it, blind it, whatever you've got. Clear out the monsters straight ahead of you, again being careful of the Tormentor's AoE. You should be able to burst them down very quickly if you have some smaller CDs for each pack. The current madness can be a bit annoying, but you can also use it to gain a bit of distance from monsters if you time it well. Head on over to the left and clear the mobs straight ahead of you. You can pull these into the next pack if you're feeling brave, but nuking down the big ad is a good call as well. We've got another Tormentor to deal with in the next pack, so remember to interrupt that mental assault if it starts casting and you're taking too much damage. Now, I would recommend you use your cooldowns on this next mini-boss and interrupt his casts of Agonizing Torment as often as you can. You probably won't be able to get them all, he recasts it very often, so just interrupt as many as you can and nuke him down quickly. If you're playing in a group, be very careful after he uses Convert, as you can end up killing your group mates very easily. Now with that chap dead, we can head around to the boss of this zone. The reason I would use CDs on the dude we just killed is because the chain ability on this boss makes it harder to get any real use out of your cooldowns. When you get chained, you're just going to want to run away and keep a good distance from the boss, so you have space to run towards them without actually getting too close. This will let you use the chain's speed boost to get out of the purple swirls on the floor if you find yourself in a bit of a pinch. I would also recommend running sideways to dodge those purple swirls if you can, instead of just trying to run away from the chain. This boss is going to chain you at least twice, so just get as much damage in between the chains as you can and he'll go down fairly easily. After that, we're going to head around and open all of the cages, trying to backtrack as little as possible. There are many ways you could do this, but I like to open the ones near the boss area, cut through to the bank area, clear those mobs out, open all the cages, then go to the middle section, cut back through where we first came from, and exit out of the same little gate. This allows you to get out of the corrupted area to save a little bit of extra sanity as we head around to the Mage Quarter. We're going to have another tendril to deal with, so interrupt it if you need to, but after that we're into the Mage Quarter. I like to head right first, but the Mage Quarter is arguably the most annoying to get around, especially with the Leaden Foot Madness in play. Essentially, you just want to stay out of combat while you're trying to move around, so I do take the extra time here to clear out tumors so you can break combat decently easily, and you will want to make good use of your movement abilities to clear extra ground. Paladins have such an easy time in here because Blessing of Freedom totally negates the Leaden Foot Madness while it's active, so I definitely missed that while playing this evoker. After clearing out the tentacles and the tumors here, you want to hang right, so we head up to the mini-boss first. Try not to get distracted too much by the little ads patrolling around. They will lock you in combat and keep the Leaden Foot debuff rolling, so try to clear them with static packs of monsters where you can. Before pulling this boss, you can pop an orb, or if your sanity is a bit higher than mine, you can wait until the other mini-boss in this area. Zardeth isn't too bad though. He'll throw down a Rain of Fire AoE, so move out of that when it happens, and he summons ads periodically as well, but they don't have too much health, so you can usually AoE them down very quickly. This is also a pretty good mini-boss to use cooldowns on just to get him out of the way nice and quick. Now with that taken care of, we're going to backtrack slightly and take this path to the right. There's a portal in here that we need to close by killing the monsters, interrupt them or stun them when you can. A lot of the mobs in the Mage Quarter are casters, so just keep that in mind, and they have some rather nasty debuffs, so the faster you kill them, the more you interrupt them and more you CC them, the better off you're going to be. Now next we're heading through this house into the big open area. I would actually avoid the mini-boss elite for now until you've cleared the area, so skirt around the edge to take out the next two portals. You want to dodge pretty much all of the swirls being thrown around in this zone, as they deal a lot of damage and can nuke your sanity real quick. Now with those two portals taken care of, we're heading through another house just across from the start of the tower's ramp. It's got the tailoring sign on the outside, and that brings us very neatly to our last portal. Kill the mobs out here, and then we can head back through that same building towards the tower. Now at this point you should probably just go straight for the elite mini-boss. I tried to sneak past it, but halfway up the ramp the elite aggroed anyway, and with Leaden Foot active you just aren't getting away from anything that puts you in combat. The swirls make this super annoying, but just dodge them as best you can, and you also need to watch out for this big frontal Chaos Breath attack. The easiest way to dodge that is to just get behind the mob or to the side of it, or you can just nuke it down super fast. That's the Mage Quarter more or less done. We just need to kill the boss. Head on upstairs and through the portal. If you're low on sanity, you could pop your last orb here, but with about half a bar left, I decided I was probably good to go. This is another super annoying boss to deal with. He will jump to opposite sides of this long hallway and start shooting void crystals down it. You need to dodge those and get into melee range to stop the attack. The sides of the room seem to be safe most of the time, so just get on over as quickly as you can. The boss also casts two abilities, Entropic Missiles, which deals damage and sanity damage, and Tainted Polymorph. You're only going to be able to interrupt one of those two casts if you're by yourself, and I would usually suggest interrupting Polymorph, but the sanity hits are going to hurt, so you just need to kill the boss as quickly as you can, and then we can move on to Alleria. Take the portal back down to the Cathedral and head inside. There's a little bit of RP to wait for, but that gives us a perfect time to fill up on sanity with our last orb. Now because we killed all 4 area bosses, Alleria is going to be much harder than usual. She will have the Eyes of Chaos, so face away from those whenever you can. She drops the fire bombs on the floor, so you can kick those away or try and bait them in a corner or edge of the room. She also casts Tainted Polymorph, so interrupt that when you can, and she's going to cast the Chain main ability that pulls you in. You can run away from this, or you can use the pillars to prevent the pull-in entirely. Then you have to dodge the purple circles on top of that, and make sure you keep at least one pillar clear of fire for the Void Eruption big AoE that you also have to line of sight. This can be a pretty rough fight, especially for melee, but if you are playing melee, I would recommend trying to kick the fire bombs to the same spot each time. That's going to give you more room to play with, and you'll want to keep the center area clear as much as you can. You can also line of sight the boss to drag her to the side of the room to make things a bit easier. Remember, you can also use Lust or Drums on this boss to make it go faster as well. All in all, this run took about 15 minutes total to get through, so you do have quite a lot of time if you've maxed out your sanity buffs. You don't have to go crazy and pull entire zones all at once. You can play things slow and careful and still clear everything in time. After killing all of the bosses in a single run, you'll get the Mask of Long Night, which is the very first mask you are able to unlock. With that secured, you can then start earning all of the others to really increase your Horrific Vision rewards. Now, something I want to emphasize is that if your sanity bar is draining way faster than mine seems to be, double check your Steeled Mind buff. You should be at 60% slower sanity drain. If this buff does not say 60%, you either need to go unlock your talents at the hourglass outside, or you need to clear each zone in the Stormwind Vision at least once. You do not have to clear every zone all at once in your first run. Clear the Dwarven District in one run, clear the Trade District in your next, then clear the Old Town in your third run, and in your fourth run just clear the Mage Quarter. Do that and you should have your 60% sanity reduction buff, and you'll be able to run this route without any problems. Now, you can also make good use of potions if you want to. The potion buffs can give you a nice boost, and being able to regenerate more sanity is always nice. I would recommend using a weak aura. I'll link the one I use in the description below, and setting it up is super easy. At the start of your run, you just want to kill these two mobs right after your first pack of monsters, and check the potion colour next to the dead NPC and the note on the floor. That potion colour is always the bad one, so click that colour on the weak aura, and it will tell you exactly what every other potion does for the rest of this run. I didn't include potions in this run because if you're taking too long to figure them out, you can actually waste more time than they save, and if you don't manage your potions properly, the expiring crowd control effects can actually get you killed very easily. So potions are going to be up to you, but you can do this run without them just fine. The same thing goes for the random buff encounters. If you know where they are located and can quickly check if they are available, that's a good way to get some extra damage out of your character for this run. But if you just want to keep things simple and not add too many extra additions to the run, you can just follow along as I've laid out. But that is the easiest and cleanest route I've found so far for the Stormwind Horrific Vision, and if you pace things properly, you can even do it below item level 600. Are there any parts of the system that you are still struggling with or don't fully understand? Have you managed to get your full clear for Stormwind and moved on to the mask progression? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description, or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.